What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's Victoria. Nice to meet you. If you're new here, I create all different types of videos. I don't just gravitate or focus on just one type of video. So for a long time I've been talking about starting a psych series. I am a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Pennsylvania, and so I'm going to create videos, do some videos that kind of focus on how to find the counselor, what to look for with your clinician, such and such. We're going to talk about anxiety disorders first, then depression, some bipolar, what kind of assessments to take or utilize if you suspect something, things of that nature. So for starters, for today's first video in this series, we're going to talk about how to find a counselor, or what to look for when choosing a counselor. Okay, so as patients or clients, it just depends on where you are coming from. I guess I like calling patients because they're seeking help. Okay, so there are a few things that you can look for or to kind of help you choose a therapist. And so I have my notes here, so if you see me kind of glancing over, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I have my own therapist. A lot of us clinicians do have our own therapists. Sometimes it's our own personal issues from before. Sometimes, a lot of what gets brought up in our own patient therapist sessions can be a lot with learning how to deal with our own kind of reactions to things. Okay, so first things first, you gotta research. Okay, you have to research what it is that you need, because like I said, so I'm CCTP. So I am a certified clinical trauma therapist, or professional anyways. I like to focus on trauma and PTSD. So if that is something that you are looking for, okay, as far as certification, okay, you would want to look for somebody that is a CCTP, and there are two levels. There are CCTP 1 and CCTP 2, okay, somebody that has background in other trainings and stuff in trauma, PTSD. If you are gearing more towards family counseling, let's say if you husband, wife, this couple, and you have two teenage kids that are struggling to get along, then geared towards family therapy. And there are so many different types of family therapy as well. Okay, there's Bowenian, solution focused, such like that. Okay, so you want to be able to familiarize your type with not only the certification though, but more so the theories, the backgrounds that they're going to be using. Okay, there are so many different theories, so many different backgrounds. Example, I am an REBT primarily. REBT is rational emotive behavioral therapy. If any of you heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, REBT is pretty straightforward, the asshole version of CBT. Very straightforward, very challenging, very in your face, but calls you out on your stuff. Kind of helps you with challenging negative biases, as well as helping you change the way you think and feel about something, changing the behavior. Okay, so that is my background, primarily, but that doesn't mean I just stick with it. I'm very integrative as well. So I take an integrative approach. Therefore, I feel like it creates more of a custom, more tailored type of therapy for patients. Okay, and that also ranges from childhood on to adulthood, later adulthood as well. So I take a vast majority of ages. Okay. Also too, with that, see what kind of therapy that you would benefit from. If you feel like you need a more individualized approach, then you can utilize, look for individual therapy. Many of us are cross-trained. We learned this in school, but many of us are cross-trained and, do a plethora of things. Like I do individual, I do couples marriage counseling, and I do group therapies as well. So again, if you need something focused more towards family, then you would want to find something that is geared towards family, or an LMFT, licensed marriage and family counselor, you could do group therapy, okay? And there's open and closed groups. If you are okay with sharing things in an open group. HIPAA still stands for all that, whether it's group setting or individual setting, so what's said in group is not supposed to be said out of group, such like that. So that's what I would research. Therapy type of counselor that you're looking for, okay, and what theoretical background, okay. The second is experience, okay, so you want to be able to look for somebody that is experienced in the field. You want to be sure that, again, not only the types of therapies or the types of modalities that are going to be used, but how long have they been practicing in that realm, okay, in that, I don't want to say background, but if somebody says, oh yeah, I can do behavioral therapy, like behavioral modification, but they've only learned it in school, that honestly goes against code of ethics because you're not well versed in that area, okay? So you want to be able to find somebody that has that experience, that can honestly say, okay, not only the experience, but certifications, ongoing education, so that way they, I don't want to say, pretty much know the ins and outs of what it is that you're looking for. All right. Thirdly, okay, you want to try to make an early connection. So this is the important part, okay? A lot of the times, we get that feeling from therapists in our patients, okay, upon the initial intake. Some people can be apprehensive depending on how many times they've been to therapy or how long they've been in therapy. So when you find yourself not therapy hopping, but trying to find their perfect therapist, okay, are they tired of having, sorry to say, smoke blown up their ass, or is it because they want somebody more personable, more warmth, more empathetic, and these are things that they teach us in school, okay? The people's ideal therapist is warm, empathetic, understanding, non-judgmental, okay? So you want to be able to establish that connection, because let's face it, okay, and this goes to my therapists and to my patients and everybody else out there watching this, if you feel a certain type of way, like you feel not safe, not secure, not comfortable with your therapist, the ability to build rapport after that gets really, really hard. Again, there is that possibility that people are just, slow to warm up, but usually we click with our therapist upon from intake onward, okay? So if you feel like the connection's not there, if you can't, if you feel like you can't mesh well with this person, it is your right, if you want to stay within that practice, to ask to be reassigned to another therapist, okay? And that should be part of the complaint procedure whenever initially discussing intake, okay? Any complaints to include, I don't feel like we're meshing well, such and such and such. There should be access to not only the manager or supervisor that is in charge of that area, but, a contact, a way to be able to contact this person in the chain of command, and that way you can get reassigned, okay? Fourth, okay, you want to check licensing and insuring, okay? I am insured with, I want to say, just about all commercial insurance. I also do Medicaid. As an LPC here in Pennsylvania, we don't do Medicare. I don't do Medicare anyways, but, and I also do self-pay. So I try to make sure that I take majority of insurances, all insurances just about, so that way my availability is more open, okay? Licensing as well. Like I said, I am a current licensed therapist here in Pennsylvania. I'm also nationally certified, and the thing with licensure here for Pennsylvania, okay, is that we renew our licenses every 2 years, okay? So let's say, for example, 2021 will be, in February, will be the next time that we renew our licenses, okay? And it's good for every 2 years, and it's on every odd year, okay? So from 2021 to 2023, and then 2025, and so on, okay? National certification is done every 5 years, and you can, ask them if they're, therapist-wise, if they're licenses are current. Okay, you can ask them educational background, what their focus is on, and everything else too. Okay, and in order to take commercial insurance, you have to be licensed anyways. Okay, so those are some important things to note as well. If your license lapses, I think to my understanding, you have to retake boards. And I'm gonna be honest with you, those tests that the NCE, the National National Counselor Examination, NCE, was hard as hell. Let's be real here, okay? So I'm gonna make sure that because I worked my ass off for this, that I'm gonna do what I need to do, and that includes continuing education, units or hours, okay? You also have the right, if you feel compelled to, contact the licensing boards to see if we're certified. There are some board directories, especially like with the NCC and stuff, the NBCC, okay, that has, clinicians that are nationally certified through them, okay, if their license is current or that certification is current, and so on and so forth too. Again, that is part of your right, okay? Last but not least is to never settle. Okay, so again, it kind of goes along the lines of number 3, to try to make the connection. Okay, so you want to be able to go on through therapy not just to make a connection, but within the initial intake as well. At least at our facility, I do private practice. Okay, we go through the initial or the preliminary treatment plan. Okay, and every 3 months we go through an ongoing treatment plan to ensure that we're meeting goals. Okay, that kind of like a check-in with the symptoms and so on and so forth. Okay, is this person getting the help that they need? But you also have to remember too, it's a help me help you. Okay, patients, you are seeking help. You are seeking our services. Okay, we're not there to give you the answer. We are there to guide you. Okay, so when you have that enlightened moment, you go, mind is blown, and it is an awesome feeling. Okay, so you have to ask that upon yourself too. Okay, therapists aren't there just to give you the answer. Okay, they kind of help you see things from a different perspective, different point of view, in order for you to meet and achieve your goals. Okay, but let's say after several sessions, let's say it's time for this ongoing treatment plan, that if you are not meeting those goals, or if you are still kind of stuck or even regressed, you went backwards as opposed to getting better, bring it up to your therapist's attention. That is your right. And that can be an uncomfortable situation, especially if you have not a trauma, but you have a complex about being scolded or from being able to speak your mind. Okay, this is one of those times where you can't. Okay, this is part of your mental health care. All right, so if you feel that I feel like I'm stuck, I don't feel like we've gotten anywhere, and this kind of puts the therapist in check. Okay, well, how so? So what are the facts? What's the proof there? Okay, and especially too, if therapist feels like, all right, what can you guys do collaboratively or together in order to improve that situation? Okay, so if you feel like you haven't met those goals or you are still stuck, you have a right to seek help further by getting a new therapist, especially if after speaking with them there is no resolution. Okay, you have that right to do so. That's probably what I would say. You want it to be beneficial and productive. You don't want to just have it be a complete bitch fest. Okay, you want it to be productive. Okay, like a productive venting session. Okay, so as you're venting and being, expressing, communicating about a situation that happened, how you felt about it, what can you collaboratively do to make it better? That's what we want to see. We want to see change and we want to see growth. There will be a time where you'll go from weekly to bi-weekly to monthly or whatever, the scheduling will be, and until you ultimately won't need therapy anymore. And that's okay. This is where you go on to be a butterfly, young caterpillar, so to speak. So that's what we ultimately want, is to see you grow, and so that way you have these tools and these skills to ultimately be able to handle these things by yourself. If a situation changes, okay, so be it. But if that's something that you're not getting from your therapist, you need to bring that up. And if you get it brought up and it's still the same, you're still stuck, I have to say sayonara and find you a different therapist that can help you be that productive person that you need to be. Okay, so just to recap, the 5: research the theories or the theoretical backgrounds, and then you also want to research what type of therapy, individual, group, marriage, couples counseling, such like that. Okay, you want to look for the experience, how long this person has been in this field, or this therapist has been in this field, what other types of certifications are out there, such of that nature. Okay, you want to try and make an early connection. Again, is this therapist warm and empathetic? Is this therapist very judgmental, which can cause you transference and remind you of somebody that kind of scarred you from childhood? Or do you feel so secure in that therapeutic relationship that, all right, I can seek help from this individual? Do you trust them? Big thing. Okay. Check licensing and insurance. Okay, you want to be able to make sure that they're licensed, and then they keep up with ongoing education, continuing education, as well as that way do they take your insurance. And again, in order for us, like for me to take commercial insurance, I had to be licensed anyways. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And lastly, never settle. Okay, if you find yourself stuck and not productive or anything, talk with them, reevaluate the goals, try it out again. If not, find you a different therapist. So short, sweet, to the point. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for others, in this psych series. And next will be anxiety. So stay tuned for that. And just note that anxiety, depression, all that stuff has spiked since Rona. Duh. Okay. And we're going to talk about what it is, what to look for, if you feel like you need to recognize it or you don't recognize it, and how to work through it. All right. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe below, tap on that notification bell so that way you get notified of any and all new videos that come forth in the future. All right. I hope you have a great night and a great rest of your week. As always, watch, like, subscribe, and share. Mwah. Have a good night.